Hey, Alan, do you have a minute? Would it be okay if I gave my mom your number?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry about this. She says she really wants to talk to you.
Through text? We're meeting them next month for the formal engagement dinner anyway.
I've been trying to delay this for weeks now. She's been asking about you every single day. She keeps saying she needs to evaluate you before the dinner.
Evaluate? That sounds intense.
Yeah, my mom can be really intense. She insists on getting to know you before then. I've actually been avoiding telling her much about you.
Your family has a long line of doctors, right?
Yeah, going back to my great-grandfather. They've been pushing me to become a doctor since I was little. Now Mom's starting to get involved in my love life, too. She keeps saying I should marry a doctor. She even has a list of suitable candidates she's trying to set me up with.
Oh, well, that's not great for me. I'm just a corporate employee.
That's just her ideal scenario. She'll have to compromise. I mean, she's not even a doctor herself. She's been a housewife since getting married. Since I became a doctor like they wanted, the least she could do is let me choose who I want to marry.
Have you told her anything about my job?
No, I've been avoiding that topic completely. She'd just start comparing you to all the doctors she knows.
Still, I bet she thinks if her daughter's gonna get married, it would be best that it was a doctor.
That's just Mom being selfish. She did this with my sister too, but my sister stood up to her and married who she wanted.
You never mentioned having a sister.
We don't talk much anymore. Mom kind of pushed her away with all the criticism. She's about 10 years older than I am. She left the family a while ago, so I pretty much grew up an only child.
I'm sorry about that. Now I'm starting to worry about whether your parents will ever accept me.
Honestly, I didn't want Mom to meet you at all. That's why I never told her anything. But she got impatient and demanded your contact info so she could talk to you directly. She found out about our engagement from one of her friends who saw us at the restaurant last week.
I see. It's okay, I'll talk with her.
I'm really sorry about this. I tried to refuse several times, but she wouldn't let up. Just humor her, okay?
What do you think she'll ask me?
I hate to say this, but she might say some pretty rude things. She did this with all my previous boyfriends, too. She'd interrogate them until they got freaked out. Some even broke up with me because of her interference. She once made my college boyfriend cry during dinner. Sorry, I probably shouldn't talk about my exes.
It's fine. You grew up an only child, so maybe she's just worried about you ending up with someone sketchy. Maybe she doesn't want what happened with your sister to happen with you, too.
Mom basically disowned her when she married a musician.
That's harsh. How long ago was this?
About 8 years ago. I still secretly meet my sister sometimes. You're so sweet, Alan. But no, she's just controlling.
I'll be extra polite. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Just don't let her intimidate you. She'll try to find any weakness she can.
I really don't want her to dislike me.
Mom will understand what a wonderful person you are once she talks to you. I've never met anyone as amazing as you. You're different from anyone I've dated before. You actually stand up for yourself.
That means a lot, coming from my fiance.
If it gets too annoying, just make up an excuse to end the conversation. I'm sorry about all this. And please don't tell her about your family background yet. She'll just use it against us somehow.
Should I avoid mentioning my father, then?
Yes, please. Let's save that for the dinner. Maybe she'll behave better in person. I'll send her your number now. Good luck. Good evening. Is this Alan? This is Mary's mother.
Yes, hello, Mrs. Johnson. Nice to meet you.
I'm sure you've heard from Mary, but I wanted to reach out to learn more about you. Do you have time to chat?
Yes, that's fine.
I'm sorry to do this, but my daughter won't tell me anything about her fiance. She seems to avoid discussing you because she doesn't want me criticizing her choice. If she just picked someone perfect, I wouldn't have to complain. But she always chooses such disappointing men. Has Mary told you about her previous relationships? There were several promising candidates from good medical families.
I see.
Her last boyfriend was at least from a good university, though he worked in finance instead of medicine. What university did you attend?
I prefer not to discuss my educational background right now.
That's very suspicious. Are you hiding something? Every educated person should be proud of their alma mater. Your reluctance to answer makes me very concerned. So what do you do for work?
I work in IT.
Just a corporate employee, then. I was hoping my daughter would marry a doctor. We're a medical family, you know.
Yes, I've heard about that.
IT could mean anything these days. Are you just doing basic computer maintenance? What exactly do you do in IT? What's your position? Are you even in a management role? If you're not a doctor, you should at least work for a prestigious company. Otherwise, this won't work. Which company do you work for? Is it at least a well-known corporation?
You can rest assured about that. I work for a major corporation.
That's very vague. Why won't you name the company? Are you ashamed of where you work? A reputable person would be proud to name their employer.
No, I'm just private about such matters.
Well, that's somewhat acceptable, though I still prefer a doctor. Do you know any doctors personally? Have you ever been in a hospital? Not including as a patient. What are your intentions with my daughter?
I apologize that I'm not a doctor, but I promise to make your daughter happy.
And how do you plan to do that? What's your salary? Can you provide her the lifestyle she's accustomed to? Do you own property? What's your investment portfolio like? She grew up in a very comfortable environment, you know. We gave her everything she could want.
I earn enough to support a family comfortably.
People often make promises they can't keep. I'll need to observe you more to see if you're truly worthy of my daughter. Do you have any idea how much doctors make? My daughter's starting salary was higher than most people's mid-career earnings. Mary could marry someone from her own hospital, someone more suitable. There's a promising young surgeon who's shown interest in her.
I understand. I'll do my best to earn your approval.
That's not a very confident response. A real man would defend himself more vigorously. Are you always this evasive? Every question I ask, you dodge. My daughter deserves someone who can be direct and honest. Your passive responses are quite concerning.
I'm being as honest as I can while maintaining appropriate boundaries.
Boundaries? With your future mother-in-law? Family shouldn't have secrets from each other. This is exactly why I need to look into you more carefully. Your attitude makes me very suspicious. We'll continue this discussion at the engagement dinner. I expect full transparency then.
I look forward to meeting you in person.
One more thing. Where does your family live? What do your parents do? Are they still together?
I'd prefer to discuss family matters at the dinner.
More secrets? This is very concerning. Mary usually tells me everything about her boyfriends. I knew everything about her previous partners' families. The fact that she's hiding so much about you makes me very suspicious. A mother has a right to know these things.
Perhaps she has her reasons.
We'll see about that. I have ways of finding information if people won't provide it willingly. I hope you're prepared for a thorough discussion at dinner. And I expect answers to all my questions then. Ellen, I'm so sorry about how my mother behaved earlier. I can't believe she made that scene in front of everyone.
She basically kicked me out of the house. She definitely hates me.
I tried to stop her, but she wouldn't listen. Dad is furious with her right now.
Did she really call me a middle school dropout lowlife?
I've never seen her act like this before. She was screaming so loud the neighbors probably heard. About that, apparently she hired someone to investigate your background.
Hired someone? This is like something out of a TV drama. Did she use a private detective or something?
It wasn't a real detective. We have a relative who does amateur online investigation work. It's my cousin who thinks he's some kind of internet sleuth.
Oh, like those internet sleuths you see on social media?
He's always bragging about how he can find anything online. She paid him to look into you. He could only find your middle school records in the US, so she assumed you dropped out after that. Mom paid him $500 to dig up dirt on you.
Ah, that makes sense.
She's been planning this for weeks. She even had a whole file prepared with evidence.
Evidence of what?
All sorts of ridiculous things. Old social media posts, your work history in the US. People have all sorts of circumstances, and judging someone by their education is wrong. But Mom won't listen to anything I say. I don't think we can ever reconcile with her. She's already telling all our relatives that I'm throwing my life away.
Your mom is really stuck on this, isn't she? Not just about careers, but education, too?
She's always been obsessed with status and appearances. Actually, that's not the only reason she's angry.
What else? Did I do something?
Apparently, that amateur investigator followed you.
What? That's creepy.
They took pictures, too. I saw them. I know, right? They followed you to your mom's house. They said it was really run down, and that made her even angrier. My cousin followed you for 3 days straight.
Oh, I did visit Mom a few days ago, so that's when they were following me. I had no idea.
I'm sorry they called it run down.
Well, it is an old single-story house.
Mom showed everyone the photos during dinner.
So that's why your mom called me poor.
She's been sending those photos to all our relatives. I'm so sorry she said such awful things. I never knew my mother could be like this. She's telling everyone you're trying to scam our family.
It's not your fault, Mary. Being insulted like that was a first for me and pretty shocking, but I don't blame you at all.
I should have warned you better about how she might react. You're right. It must be hurtful. Why did I have to get a mother like this? She's always like this. I've had to break up with so many boyfriends because of her. She's proud of ruining my relationships.
Did she insult your ex-boyfriends like this too?
Yeah. They'd all end up leaving, saying they couldn't be with someone who had such a weird parent. One of them actually filed a harassment complaint against her.
Well, now I understand your mom better, but no matter how much she opposes us, I still want to marry you. We should think about how to handle our relationship with her.
You still want to marry me after all this? Even after she threw water in your face?
Of course I do. We're in this together.
Actually, I have something I want to ask you about that. I've been thinking about this all night. Can we discuss something serious? What is the meaning of this? My own daughter sent me this message about the wedding. What do you mean I'm the only one not invited to the wedding? Answer me!
Yes, Mary and I discussed it and made this decision, since you clearly don't approve of us.
This is outrageous. Even distant relatives are invited. And of course I don't. And you're still planning to marry my daughter after all this? Break up with her immediately. How dare you turn my daughter against me?
That's not possible. We love each other, and Mary is an adult who wants to make her own choices about marriage.
She was perfectly fine before meeting you. Don't be ridiculous. When parents oppose a marriage, children should listen. I've guided her whole life. I know what's best for her.
Children aren't their parents' property.
Who do you think you are to lecture me about parenting? If my daughter would just choose someone suitable, I wouldn't have to interfere. But she always picks worthless men. I have to check them carefully. I've protected her from making mistakes all her life.
So I'm worthless too?
I know your family is poor, and you're a dropout too. I won't hand my daughter over to someone from the bottom of society. Those pictures of your mother's house tell me everything I need to know.
Am I really that bad?
Poor people should marry other poor people. How dare you try to get your hands on my daughter? You're probably just after our money, aren't you? Back off right now. I bet you targeted her because she's a doctor. Did you think you could fool us with your fancy clothes?
I'm not after money. You investigated me, so you must know I work for a major corporation.
Even at a big company, you probably have some dead-end, low-paying position. Someone from your background couldn't possibly earn much. You might not even be a full employee. What's your actual job title? Some kind of assistant?
That's quite an assumption.
Then prove me wrong. Show me your tax returns. You're simply not good enough for my daughter. A dropout trying to marry into our medical family. You'll bring shame to our name. Everyone at the hospital will laugh at us.
Yes, I am a dropout. In the States, that is.
In the States? What do you mean? Stop trying to confuse the issue.
My parents divorced when I was in middle school. I went with my dad, and we moved to Germany for his work, so I went to high school and college there. That's why your amateur investigator could only find my middle school records.
What?
That's why my American education records stop at middle school. Maybe if you'd hired a real detective instead of an amateur, you wouldn't have jumped to conclusions.
You're making this up. But why are you in the US now?
After college, I worked in Germany for a while, then transferred to the States 2 years ago. I'm at a multinational firm now, full-time employee making over $100,000 a year.
That can't be true. What about that run-down house? Why would someone making that much let their mother live like that?
That's my estranged mother's place. She had health issues after the divorce and struggled. Since I came back to the States and reconnected with her, I've been helping her out financially. I've been trying to convince her to move, but she's attached to that house.
So, we completely misunderstood everything? But still, you should have told us this from the beginning.
Even if I had dropped out, I didn't deserve to be insulted like that. Having pride in your family is fine, but looking down on others is wrong. Is being from a medical family really something to be so arrogant about? My father's a surgeon in Germany, and he's never looked down on anyone.
What? Your father is a doctor? Which hospital? What's his name?
Yes, he sometimes comes to America to teach surgical techniques. He's quite well known in the field, actually.
Why didn't you say so earlier? This changes everything.
I tried to tell you during the meeting, but you wouldn't let me speak.
Because I didn't know. We can start over. Let's forget everything that happened.
Well, we'll be keeping our distance from now on. Let's avoid interacting with each other.
You can't do this. Not now that I know the truth.
The truth about my background doesn't change how you treated us.
Alan, please forgive my terrible behavior. My husband scolded me severely. He actually knew of your father's reputation. Apparently, he's a legendary surgeon here in America. I had no idea we were dealing with such an important person's son. Please, can't we talk this through?
Is that so? I wasn't aware he was that well known.
Your father pioneered that new cardiac surgery technique. My husband has been following his research for years.
I've told my father about how you insulted me. I've also informed him that we won't be maintaining family relations with you.
Please wait. My husband wants to apologize too. Please forgive us. We can have another dinner. A proper one this time.
Your husband's apology isn't necessary. He tried to stop you during the meeting. We only want to cut ties with you specifically.
Just me? How can you invite my husband but not me?
Yes, like I said, you're the only one not invited to the wedding.
My own daughter's wedding? You can't do this to me. Mary wants to cut ties with only me? I gave birth to her. I raised her.
Actually, it was Mary's idea. She told me how harsh you've been to her all these years. She said having you as a mother has been nothing but painful.
But everything I did was for her. She became a doctor because of me. Look how successful she is now.
Mary never wanted to be a doctor. She always wanted to be an animator.
She's still saying that? She used to talk about that in elementary school, but that was just a childish dream.
She's been drawing cartoons while working as a doctor. Now she wants to quit medicine and pursue her dream. I'm gonna support her.
She'll never make it. Why throw away a medical career? Do you know how hard I worked to get her into medical school? How many strings I pulled? How many favors I called in?
Mary says she's never been able to do anything she wanted in life. What's wrong with following your passion at least once?
Passion doesn't pay bills. Being a doctor is a respected position.
She's saved up enough money and I can support us so there's no financial worry.
But being a doctor is obviously better for her future. What will people say when they hear she quit? Think about our family's reputation.
Mary says when she looks back on her life, all she feels is regret. Do you really think continuing as a doctor would make her happy? Forcing her to be a doctor was just for your own satisfaction. That's why your daughter is cutting you out of her life. She cries every time she has to go to work. Did you know that?
Let me talk to Mary. Why won't she answer my calls?
No, she doesn't want to speak with you. By the way, her father has already approved our decisions.
What did you say?
Your husband agrees that you're in the wrong. He's known about Mary's cartoons for years. He's been secretly supporting her dream.
Even my husband is abandoning me? I married into this family. I protected it. I made my daughter become a doctor for the family's sake. I sacrificed everything for this family.
For the family or for the money? I heard you've been living quite luxuriously on your husband's income. Your closet is full of designer brands, isn't it? That's why, despite being a medical family, there's not much savings.
How dare you? Who told you about our finances? I was just maintaining an appropriate appearance for our family's status. A doctor's wife has certain obligations.
Both your husband and Mary are fed up with you, and after this incident, Mary has completely lost faith in you. I'm sorry, but reconciliation is impossible. Mary's already submitted her resignation letter.
Stop! Don't take my daughter away. Please, forgive me, Mary. I'll support her cartoons. I'll do anything.
You've been holding your daughter back all this time. Now you need to face the consequences. You're the one who's brought shame to your family name.
You don't understand. I just wanted to be the best for her. Please, just let me talk to her one more time.
I'll pass along your messages to Mary, but don't expect a response.
How long will this punishment last?
This isn't punishment, it's consequences. We didn't invite my mother-in-law to our wedding. She was frustrated about being the only one excluded and started taking it out on my father-in-law. Their relationship deteriorated, and eventually it came out that she was having an affair. They got divorced, of course. In the settlement, she didn't get much because of her infidelity. Since she'd been a housewife all her life, finding work was difficult, but she couldn't lower her standard of living. Her savings quickly ran out, and now she's struggling financially. Meanwhile, Mary says she's never been happier. No matter who they are, parents have no right to steal their children's lives. I want my wife to enjoy this freedom she's finally found. Mary released a draft of the first episode of her cartoon 6 months after quitting medicine. She dedicated it to the one who always believed in my dreams, her father. She posted it on social media and it got over 1 million views. There's a lot of people online supporting her, and I'm incredibly proud of her.